Hi all, it's Eddie from Weedy Tropicals. If it's your first time, don't forget to subscribe. If you're coming back, then obviously you know what we're in for. We're looking at sowing some seeds today. I've got 3 different things for us to do, and I'll show you the name of the company that I got the seeds from. Of course, obviously use your own if you want to. These are from Plant World Seeds, and they're Canna. They're called Germination or something like that. One of the biggest cannas that you can grow. They're absolutely huge, as you can see on the tags there, bright yellow flowers, so they're gorgeous. On top of that one, we've got a more common one, which is a Ricinus Gibsonii, kind of reddy, kind of purple kind of colour. Poisonous, as I've said in other videos, every part of that plant, so just be careful with that one. And then one that even I hadn't heard of, this one's Euphorbia, Marginata, Kilimanjaro. Look at the colour on that. So that's what we're in for today. So you clicked on the thumbnail to try and grow some seeds. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do every single video going forward where possible, either as a grow along. So if you want to get the seeds at the same time, obviously you'll be about a week behind me. Although I'm going to publish this video today, so obviously you can get the seeds within a couple of days. So you'll be a few days behind me, and in the grand scheme of things with seeds, that won't make any difference at all. So we could almost do it as a bit of a grow along. Put all your comments in if you've got anything at all, but I'm going to show you all my secrets with cannas, how you're going to get almost 100% success rate with that one. And I'd expect nothing less from the Ricinus. I have never grown those Euphorbia before, so I have no idea what to expect from those, but we'll find out together. That's the exciting part of doing from seeds. Like I said, subscribe, because I'm going to be doing update videos on all of these as we're going, and I'm going to introduce hundreds and hundreds of new plants as well. All right. So I'm going to start off with the equipment that you're going to need for this one. So cannas, they grow far better if you use one of those. We can get that into focus. It's a nail file. I prefer to use the kind of, I don't know what the technical part of that is, but I suppose almost like a finishing part. There's one that's really rough, and there's one that feels like a finisher. It's kind of a bit more smooth. I prefer to use that where possible, but if it's not getting through the seed coat, use it on that. Obviously, we need the seeds. If you can get some of these are fantastic. You don't need these, but again, these are just like little pro tips that I've used that I get better germination. It's a little seed pot. You're thinking, what's fantastic about that? Nothing new there. But it comes with a humidity dome. I ordered those off Temu. Don't judge. They're a couple of £, and they've been absolutely fantastic. So I'm sure you can buy them from other suppliers, so feel free. And I'm going to reuse these, so people that are going, don't use plastics, blah blah blah, these are reusable year in, year out. I'm going to continue to use them for as long as I can keep using them. So yeah, and then so basically all we're going to need is pot, nail file, humidity dome if you've got one. If you haven't, cling film over the top of that, bit of perspex, anything to basically cover that over and let a little bit of light in is basically what we're looking at. And then I'm going to show you the soil now. So the soil today is going to be different. As you can see there, that is multi-purpose compost. I haven't sieved out all the big bits, so I'd absolutely recommend sieving out any of the large parts. But the rest of this is it's like powder, so I'm pretty happy with that. Ordinarily, I would use coconut coir, which is made from coconut husk, but I have ran out. I've done an awful lot of potting on, and I've ran out. The delivery's coming on Wednesday, so from Wednesday onwards, you'll be seeing me using coconut husk again. But this is just to show if you don't want to buy all the fancy things, you don't have to. So that's multi-purpose compost. Obviously, I'll get rid of the big bits. We don't want those in there as well. If I move that out of the way. The white material here, and again another pro tip with this one, I've wet it so it's not as powdery. I've wet that, so it's, if you don't, when you pour that originally, it puts this dust up in the air, and I know for a fact it's not doing any good for anybody's lungs. So if you get perlite, try and wet it and then put it in, and then that saves it going up in the air. It always seems to get into like my tear ducts and just places you don't want it, okay? And then it also makes a right mess. So when you're using perlite, try and give that a wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 60% of the compost, 40% of perlite. I'm just going to mix that in roughly. You don't need to measure anything, just give it a rough idea. And then on top, these gold flaky looking things, I'll put that on top of the mix, and that just seals in a bit of moisture. So what we're trying to do is when we're trying to penetrate the seed coat, we're trying to make sure that the seed has got water all the way around it. and that just helps with germination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the first pot. I'll show you now between the two, show you how I mix that. Like I say, there's no exact science with it, and I'll obviously do it at the same time. Right, so I'm just going to quickly show you. Ordinarily I'd have this pre-mix, but obviously for the purpose of the video, we can do this now. So I'm just going to get some nice little handfuls, going to get a little bit of vermiculite in as well. Again, any big bits, break those up. Bit of, you can see there's no measuring. All the big bits are just going to get mixed up within that. Took a bit more in there, so you can see that that's just been completely randomized. There's absolutely no science involved in that whatsoever. And then all it needs is a bit of a mix. I have got like a little seed dibber that I normally would use. We just want to mix that through so we haven't got loads of perlite together and we haven't got loads of compost together. Once it's mixed, hopefully you can see that, it's quite a nice consistency there, and you can see there that'll be nice for the water to be able to run through all the way through that particular mix. So I'll move on to the next step. Right, so for this part, we've done the mix now. This is where the foil comes in. So as you can see with the cannas, hopefully you can see the decent sized seeds there. They're not little dinky seeds. Let me open up the seed packet because they've been very generous with this. Sometimes you only get like 5 seeds. I believe there's closer to 10 by the feel of this. I think there's about 10, maybe 8 or 10. Pour them out. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, 10. We've got 10 beautiful seeds there. All we're going to do is keep the other ones somewhere safe. So even if we just for now turn that upside down, the hole's not big enough for them to go through, so I can store them with ease. We can start off with one of the bigger ones, as you can see that. Thank God for the hands-free equipment this time. So last time I did this video I didn't have the tripod, so I was trying to do it all by myself. You're trying to find like where you believe is the side, and you're just going to give it a light rub, as you can hear that. It's a light rub, and all we're looking for is keep checking this regular. I don't know if that'll pick it up there, but see there's like a little, apologies about my nails, I've been potting on, so a bit gummy. Scratch that and there we go, perfect. So you can see there's a bit of white now, hopefully. There's a tiny bit of white coming through there, and then that's as far as you want to go. So don't go any further than that. So it looks perfectly white like that. I don't want to go any further than that because you can destroy the seeds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that one on the side. Thankfully I've got like a little groove in the decking planks that I've used here. Again, hopefully I don't drop any of these because they are pretty small. You have to hold them really with that. Again, little foil. That's as quick as that one needed. See, that's gone white. If I zoom right in, that's gone white. No more than that. And then I won't bore you doing the rest of these 10. I'll show you this very last one. White. That's it. So that's all I want you to be doing. Very small amount. I'm going to foil the rest and I'll come back to you. There we go. So thank God with fast forward I've got those done. It didn't take long to be fair, but got a beautiful mix. I've got a little cheeky seed dibber. It's covered in vermiculite. So all I'm going to do is poke in little holes. I'll show you once I've done it all. Just poke randomly spaced holes, as many as you can get. So you can see there, hopefully that's 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. So these are going to be pretty close seeds, but that's fine. We can separate them. So I've made a loose kind of 10 looking holes there. So they're not far down. So we're talking probably about there. If you're using your finger, it's up to your first knuckle there. It's kind of about as far as they need to go down. And then all we're literally going to do is take those seeds and just pop them in. I'm going to try and get them in one at a time. Doesn't really matter, the seed will find the right way around. That's what I always find amazing with nature, is that even if you plant a seed upside down, which I've done in the past with Colocasia esculenta, it's really difficult to know which way is up. If you can get the white side facing up, that's bonus, but if not, the seeds actually will find the right way. How they do that, I don't know. Bearing in mind that they're buried within the soil, but it's a nice little fact for you there. So if you kind of get one and you think, oh, it's going to spend me ages fishing that one out, don't worry about it. They will pop up. Like I say, I'm going to try and take my time just to see if I can do it the best possible way. So all we've got there, as you can see there, they're not buried far. You may even be able to, yeah, you can see some of the seeds there. Give them a little bit of a push down. But like I say, first knuckle is where we're kind of aiming for. Give that mix a bit of a ruffle just to kind of get it kind of where it is. We're then going to use, if I can get the bottom tray out here, vermiculite. So we're going to get just a handful. I'm just going to pour that in, give that a shake, and then without trying to tip it all out, perfectly level. What we're going to want to do with these, I use this attachment that you just get with an iron, and if I fill that up with water, reason I use that is because you can get a nice solid pour with a watering can. Sometimes with the height and stuff it's hard, so you just pour that all the way through the mix. I can feel that's going heavy now. So any second now it's about to start pouring out the bottom, and this will show how free draining this mix is. Just pour that in. Gorgeous. So that's what we want. So those plants are going to have a nice easy life in there, and that's what we're after. So we're after it when we water those, they're going to retain a lot of water, but you can still see there water still coming out. Great mix for any kind of tropical plant, because you can see there it's going to retain what it needs. The top part is the vermiculite is soaking wet now, and you will see a colour change that goes a little bit darker obviously once it's wet, and you can see it's light, and also it kind of clags a bit together. It's a bit harder to move. When it's bone dry, as you saw me then, it's kind of a bit more like that. I'll put that behind the camera, and then the one thing that I forgot in the beginning that you're going to need, it's common sense really, it's just some way of marking what those are. If you're only doing this one set of Canna, you don't need to mark it because they're pretty obvious what they are. But I'm going to write the full name now, including the Latin bit. What's a good thing to do is, I can't do it right now because I'm using my phone to film, is to write the date on the back and how many seeds that you've put in there. So I know I've got 10 seeds, and that's a way of how I know when to pull them out. If I can see 10, I know I've cracked it. If I can see 7 or 8, I know once I'm separating those, it's actually worth rooting around and just seeing, because they're quite solid. You can feel the Canna seeds, so you'll be able to feel the ones in there, especially in like just a little 9cm pot like that, or 6cm, whatever that is. You'll be able to find the seeds that haven't germinated, and then just feel free to just put them back in the mix and leave them for another couple of weeks or so. See if they go. With these ones, like I say, I put that on the back, 10 seeds. I'm not going to worry about the date because I'm not bothered. But if you want to see how quickly, it's a good thing to do. So I'll pop that in there, so that's all sorted. And then just for fun, these are going to go in my propagator, the Vitapod behind me anyway, so they're going to go in there. At this time of year, you might get enough to just leave in the greenhouse. To be fair, it's got enough of a kind of hot and cold cycle, but it should be able to boil them up just for the purpose of the oh, there's a faux pas just for the sake of the video. Just put that on there as well. See, I nearly made that thing without no mistakes. See, no script, I'm just freestyling this the whole time. So drop a lid, I can live with that. So what we're going to look at is, again, I bought 2 packets. So if I wanted to do the one I do, rinse, lather, repeat with that, exactly the same method. If we move on to the second set. So next up, we've got the Euphorbia, Marginata, Kilimanjaro. I'm going to stick the little notes just ahead of me because it's pretty early and I can't remember all the information. So these are usually sown between March and April, germinate between 20 and 30, which is just bog standard with an awful lot of plants really. It says propagator, cover seeds thinly. So put that in the propagator, cover the seeds thinly, which is what we've just done with the vermiculite. Germination is 7 to 14 days, so really rapid. These are a good one to grow. It says do not exclude light at any stage. So that's why that we use those kind of propagator lids, because it's going to let the light through. And then transplant the seedlings when large enough to handle into 3-inch pots, so tiny pots. So basically, I did a batch of these. I know I said I didn't sow them before, but I remembered afterwards I had tried a batch of these, and I left the propagator lid on for too long. And I remember when I came, all the heads had kind of like popped off, which I think is a kind of condition, disease, whatever you want to call it, called damping off, where they die from like where the kind of seed emerges from the soil level. They'll die there, but also all the heads had popped off as well. So which was kind of strange. So I think I only ended up with 2, and they've gone extremely leggy. So as soon as you see these things pop in, get a little bit of airflow. If you've got a fan or something like that, a window open somewhere near, don't keep the lid on any longer than you needed to, because I think mine kind of went over a weekend. I checked them on a Friday, and I remember when I come back on a Monday, they looked really healthy on Friday, and they were destroyed by Monday completely, like complete waste of time. So just thought I'd throw that little tip in there for you. Like I say, grow on in cooler, well-lit conditions, it says, for 10 days before planting out after the risk of frost. So basically it's saying, probably for most of us, it'd be middle of May, end of May, worst case scenario. So definitely by June, these can go out, depending on how many you get, because again, they've been extremely generous with this. I mean, can you see that? I don't know. Yeah, there's loads in there. Absolutely a ton. It doesn't say on the box how many's supposed to be in there. That's the one thing it's missing from there. But if I had to guess, I mean, there's 50 plus seeds in there. So get a couple of plants out of a seed packet, I'm buzzing. Like any more than that, you can sell them marketplace or something like that, make a bit of profit. Same with the cannas. When you're sowing 10s, you need 10. You might argue, yeah. You might say no. I sell them all the time, £6 each, or 2 for a tenner, £5 each, that kind of in that range. Seed packet costs you a £5, so it's a good way to put a little bit of money in our back pockets, especially when we're doing the tropical stuff as well. So that money saving tip. We'll crack on with the video, but like I say, if we can make some money, we're only going to spend it on plants again anyway, I imagine. Like, this never goes on my bills. This is always goes putting something else green in there. So it's almost like a plant swap. Money, this is just about the skill and the excitement of growing something new, something that shouldn't really be in our area. Like I say, these are exotic plants, definitely not from Birmingham, where I'm from. Without further ado, let's get cracking with the next one. So for these ones, because we've got so many seeds, I'm going to use a quarter-side seed tray, quarter or half. I can't remember what that one is. I think it's a quarter-size seed tray. Yeah. I'm going to use that just because then I can chuck them all in. Again, same method as before. So if you're kind of thinking, I know where you're going with this one, Ed, you've cracked it. I'm going to be basically throwing in a load of compost, probably about half. Again, honestly, no exact science. And then we're going to go and get the perlite again. We're going to scoop a bit of that in there. Scoop a bit more in there. Use a little seed dibber just to mix that around, or do what I'm doing and throw it all over the plants below me. Mix that around, like I say, so there's not too much compost, there's not too much perlite all kind of stacked together. You want to split these up. Just like naughty kids in the classroom. That used to be me. You can never sit at the back of the class. Always naughty. So that's what we want to do. We want to separate people like me and distracting everybody else. Same with these. We want to make sure all of these quite nicely mixed there, as you can see. And then what we're going to do is, because when we want to water these, we don't want that right up to the top, because what happens is the water will pour over the outside. And because we're going to sow directly into this as well, what's useful is if you pre-water this mix, because it will help level the stuff off. And as well as that, I don't really want the seeds moving after I've sown them. So I'm going to pre-moisten this. Literally soak this until it's running out the bottom. That's what we're after. And like I say, as you're watering it, it will actually level some of the mix out for you. So that's 2 jobs. See that it's pouring out the bottom. Relatively level. And then now, let me move the camera. Hopefully you can see that's about as good as I can get it. I'm going to get my seed pack. Keep those in focus. Let me move that down just a little bit so you can see it. You know exactly where I'm going with this one. So again, when you're trying to pour these out, try and pour it with your hand over, because if you get a couple that fly off, they might fly into the mix. What I'm going to do is just roughly sow those thinly. Just keep, well, that just means just keep ruffling like your thumb and your finger and just letting these kind of drop out. Just keep doing that. That's what I was concentrating there. I think that's a good amount in there. I'm going to save those, so we probably saved about half. So I'll keep the seed packet on that one. We've used half, so I'm going to put those back in. And if I wanted to, we've got another quarter-size seed tray. I could put the rest of them in there. So with this now, it says cover thinly. Okay, so all that means is with the nice vermiculite stuff that we've got, or perlite, you can use either. Just give it a very light cover, just so you can't see any of the mix below. Not much. We're just letting that flow off. Give that a nice little firm down because you want good seed to soil contact. And then because I'm using that ironing attachment, I can add a little bit more water to this. Not loads, I'm just going to run it top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, and that's that. No more than that. Last part is the label. So what we're going to do now is, now we've got that mix perfectly done, we're just going to bang a label out for that one. So get some pre-prepared earlier, one little label bit, and then we're just going to write down on that one, Jaro. Made a right mess up of Kilimanjaro, but you can see written label there. What I do with the quarter size ones is, because if you put that in, it stands way too proud. I just cut the white section off at the bottom, just that can sit at a more comfortable level. And then I'm going to pop that one in the propagator in the Vitapod. Just as a one for the Cannas as well, a bit of like a Blue Peter if you're old enough to remember that. This is the batch I sowed 2 weeks ago, called Yellow Raw, and we got 5 out of 5 out of that. And look, exactly the same mix. You can see Koya, perlite. I didn't bother putting too much vermiculite on the top of that. Like I say, if you've got it, it's just an added extra, but they'll pop either way. So I just thought I'd show you that as I was kind of clearing out the thing, just to show you that this method does work. And last but not least, we've got the Ricinus Gibsonii red. I believe these are extremely poisonous. Let me put my gloves on for this if we've got any. But yeah, let me put my gloves on. As I'm on video showing you what to do, it's only right to make sure the video is done properly. So gloves. The seeds are poisonous, stems poisonous, leaves are poisonous. You might very well go, well, why are you growing them then, mate? It's because they look nice at the back of a border. So if you've got dogs or anything that would eat anything off the ground, don't use these. Seeds, let me show you, are really beautiful looking seeds. These are old seed that I've got here, so don't judge me if these ones don't actually germinate. I've got proof in the pudding that my method works, but these ones look a little bit moldy. I think I've left them in there a bit too long, or maybe they got damp in this. I think the seed packet looks like it's got a bit wet, but they have got like some dodgy looking stuff on them. I'll give them a whirl because they've not rotted out, but I'm just going to quickly pop to the propagator just to show you that I can grow stuff from seed. And again, Blue Peter moment. Ricinus Gibsonii red, there's one. Beautiful pink stem, look at that. I'm expecting about another 3 or 4, but again, these were old seed. And you can see they're cotyledons, which are seed leaves, so they look nothing like the plant. They're just the ones that emerge, first solar panels for the plant. And you can see growing in there, in the middle, potentially, is that the first set of leaves, it's called true leaves, that have the first characteristics of the plant that you're trying to grow. So if you look at the seed packet and go, that is not what that's supposed to look like, don't worry about it. Leave them as they are, they will drop off, but they're solar panels for the plant. So whilst you can, leave those on there, okay? Same method as before, so you can jump ahead. I'm going to sow it in there. I'll put subtitles in the video, so if you're only interested in one of these, you can jump to that. Absolutely no offense taken. Obviously for YouTube, it helps if you watch the full video. Subscribe, like, comment, all of that helps me grow my channel. I'm on a quest to get to 1,000 subscribers as quick as I can. And I appreciate every single person that stayed with us from the beginning. It is very much appreciated. Can't get there without you. But I will put chapters in there in case you want to fast forward, or if you want to come back to a plant. If I was a little bit too quick or a bit too slow, whatever, you can kind of jump about if you wanted to. So for these seeds, because these grow quick, I'm going to put these in a seed. I'm going to put these in a seed tray. Reason being, if I put 10 of these inside of a little 9 centimetre pot, if I've got one, or 6 centimetre pot, you can imagine the drama that that's going to cause with 10 of those all fighting for space for that. It's still going to cause said drama in a seed tray, but what I'll do is I'll transplant them really quickly. You may very well, if you plant 10 and you give them a bit of root disturbance, you may very well lose 1 or 2 in that. But do I need 15? Because I've got 5 in that one and 10 in this one? No. Hard to sell as well, because I can't sell them at plant stalls because they're poisonous, so my public liability doesn't cover me. So I'm growing these just for my own garden, or if people want to come on collection and they haven't got dogs or cats that are going to eat anything. So without further ado, let's do the same mix again. So we're going to do compost. I'm going to keep my gloves on because I'm going to handle the seed in a moment. Again, with these ones, the perlite is probably not necessary. So if you're running low on it, you can save it, but I just put it in everything. I try and make the process as easy as possible. And the reason I do this is, like, even if it's not what the seed packet always says, it's because I want to sow things the way that I want to sow them. And there will be plants that works for, and there'll be plants that doesn't work for, but it works for me in my memory. So when I come out and I think, right, that's how I'm going to sow those plants, I'm just going to keep growing the same plants that work with the method that I've got. I try new ones all the time, but like I say, it's worth sowing things that work for you as well. So I'm going to put those in. I'm going to put them in like rows of 2. So I'm going to make it as if there was a channel at the top. I will show you in a moment. And I'm just going to try and space those out so they fit all the way down. Feel free to sow these any which way that you like. Again, this is just my advice. So if you've got a family method you've been following for 100 years, disagree completely with what I say, that's absolutely fine. I will not turn to dust and I will not cry about that. You can use whatever method you like. This is just a video for me to show people a method that works for me, and that's all that matters for me, is that when I put these seeds to the ground, it germinates for me. If you want to do a different method, that's absolutely fine. So what I've done is I've covered those with compost, and what I do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down. Again, just for aesthetics, also for fungus gnats as well, because you will get fungus gnats, little tiny black flies that like to take over trays that are just soil. Not saying they won't get in that. I'm not trying to put that illusion in your brain, because fungus gnats, they're a pest for a reason, and they will get into a lot of things. But I found through growing it that way, you have a damn sight less in there than without. Final step with this one. It's really hot in here today. Apologies if I'm deep breathing. I think a hoodie was a mistake, and to have to keep turning the fan off to film this. I've got an industrial fan over there, so hope you appreciate what I'm doing. I'm dying for the art here. I'm just going to put in a quick label before I can quickly run and put the fan back on, and then carry on doing what I was doing before my YouTube videos. Just tidying up my greenhouse today. So again, leave it full size if you wanted to. The plant label, as I've already shown you, I'm cutting half of it off, and then that is the final product there. As again, with a bit of a blue Peter, fast forward probably about 7 days and you will notice it looks like that. Of course, if there's 10 of them in there, they'll be fighting for room. We want to get them out as quick as possible, just because if we're going to disturb them, which we probably are by messing with them, trying to get them out, we want to do that before the roots are all over each other and you're pulling them up, yeah, doing all of that. Again, for transplanting, I think I said in the last video, you want to hold the leaf, not the stem, because if you break the stem, 9 times out of 10, the plant at that stage will not recover. It'll be done. Or if you pull a leaf off, it'll grow a new one, especially with the cotyledon like that, where it's just like a seed leaf. We're not bothered about those at all. Obviously, they're going to help the plant in the meantime, but these things grow like magic beans. Same with every single plant we've sown so far. Because they've got the vermiculite on the top, I can give those a nice little pour. That's leveled it all out. No pre-soaking, as you've noticed with any of these. Cannas can do with a couple of day pre-soak. So if you want to put them in, you can even file them and then put them in. I've done that before and they've sprouted really quickly. So that's another kind of bonus tip, I suppose. If you want to, I don't do it now because I just waste 2 days. Like these will come up regardless. If you get to this point in the video thinking, why didn't you tell me that earlier? It's just an alternate method. So if you want to file them, put them in water. There's ways where you can boil a kettle of water, pour it in, you can hear it cracking, and you have to quickly pour cold water on, and that will fracture the seeds all over. And again, I know other people have great success with that. I hate that method because if you get it wrong, you completely destroy all the seeds. I know there's people that would swear by it and never got it wrong in their life, but That's just not for me. If that's for you, then crack on with that one. That's called the hot water method. Look it up online, and you may very well find that that's better for you than this particular method. But I grow cannas every single year, and this is the method that I use. So if you want to use the hot one, if you want to scarify them, leave them somewhere warm, like over a radiator, if not for a couple of days, or even on the kitchen side, just to kind of help them imbibe the water, that's cool. But what I'm telling you is with these ones, before the lecture's over, I put 5 in there, no pre-soaking, just a bit of thing, and I got 5 out. So I've saved myself a couple of days on that. But the whole point of growing these things from seed is experimenting, finding whether my methods are better than somebody else's are better than mine, and just try. If you've got a couple of different seed packs, it doesn't hurt to try, maybe boil a couple of them. Try not filing a couple, file a couple, and then just put them down and just try and keep a little bit of a, I don't know, couple of notes on which ones went first, and see if there's any significant differences. And if there isn't, just go with the cheapest one on there. As I said, like from handling these, going back to Ricinus, the whole part of that plant I'm advised is poisonous. I'm not going to test that because obviously they make ricin poison out of that, and it's deadly. So I'm not going to be sitting there trying to fact find on this particular thing. So I'm going to go with the common advice online, which is the seed is poisonous, the leaf is poisonous, the stem is poisonous. So if you've got anything that eat it off the ground, don't bother. If your dog and that wouldn't entertain eating it off, then crack on with it. You can also grow these if your dog's not going to eat the stem and leaves, and then cut off when they form a seed pod. It's really obvious when they're forming it. It's already spiky and quite highly coloured. Just cut that off, and then obviously the seeds aren't going to be there. The only downfall to that is then you'd have to buy seed next year. But if it's a risk of killing a pet or something, obviously just buy some seeds again next year. It's not worth saving a fiver. And then, yeah, that's the kind of end of waffle with the video. Just before you kind of switch off, if you can take 2 more seconds, what I'm going to be doing with these videos is, rather than me waiting for germination on some of these seeds, which might take 7 to 10 days, as some of them said 14 days, we're going to upload regularly. I'm going to upload these with no results on them, which is not the videos that I like. I like to see that there's greenery, but as I was showing you with the ricin plant, I've sown those about a week ago, maybe even less than that, and they've already germinated. So if you stay with this playlist, I'm going to be doing like sow 1, sow 2, sow 3, and then I'm going to do an update on the things as we're going. And that will allow me to put content out there to try and attract more subscribers and to try and impress YouTube a little bit more, as well as just trying to be a bit more frequent with the videos rather than posting every month or so, because you know I've got thousands of seed packets, as you can see here. There's absolutely tons, and that's not everything that I've got either. I've got other folders of stuff in there as well. So I'm going to keep posting these. Obviously, once you've watched this one, the next video, if these things have popped, I'm going to show you the results of all of these and how many have popped and all the rest of it. Compare with yourself, put it in the notes if you beat me to it. If you had a better germination rate than me, then absolutely awesome. And then, yeah, just try and engage. We're trying to like make a community on this channel is my aim. No questions too stupid. Obviously, you can see where I bought the seeds from, but there's other places available on there as well. So feel free to go and get them from somewhere cheaper, but they might not have as many seeds in as these ones. These have got 10 in it, so you might find them cheaper somewhere else, and they've got 5 in. So it depends on how many you want and things like that. But put stuff in the comment, other things that you grow in, things that you want me to grow, put it in there. The more comments in there, the more likely YouTube's going to send it out to everybody else as well. But I appreciate tuning in for this. And like I say, stay tuned on this playlist for more videos